All right, testimonies from concerned stakeholders have attested to the fact that night driving presents unique challenges, increased risk, and challenges associated with night travels are so many. Recently, the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, advised people to avoid night trips, saying it is not only unsafe but utterly dangerous. Now, one major reason people are advised to avoid night travel is the issue of decreased or poor visibility, which leads to fatigue and sleeping on wheels for so many, and this has resulted to avoidable fatalities. Insecurity and bad roads are other factors responsible for unsafe night trips. Now, this is the focus on the program today, Nigeria Today. I'm Chimaobi Walter Nnaji. Glad you could join us. And to discuss the issue, we have Corps Education Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Bisi Kazim. Many thanks for being here once again, and welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so joining BC is Dominion Ajom. He is the Managing Director, DZ Global Transport Limited, and a road traffic consultant. Many thanks for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's now go straight into the business of the day. And I'd like to start with the FRSC Corps Public Education Officer. Why is it not advisable, to travel at night? A lot of people have obvious reasons for wanting to travel at night. People have, for them, it's the best time to travel. But from your own point of view as a professional, why is it not advisable?
Well, thank you very much. Night journeys has his own demerits, very numerous. Firstly, you realize that it affects visibility. When you are driving in the night, most of the time visibility is blurred. You cannot see. In fact, during the day, let's first of all start by saying how many commercial vehicle operators in Nigeria have you ever seen using glasses? Is it that none of them has defective eyes? People do not check their eyes in the first place. During the day, they're having problem with their eyes. Talk less of driving in the night. That is number one. You cannot shift the nature. Most of the time, we are supposed to be sleeping at night. You drive long journeys and so on. Fatigue must set in. You feel asleep. And apart from this, most of these drivers that you see, because they have observed that law enforcement agencies are not on the road. They drive dangerously, they overspeed, they overtake anyhow, and they are equally very reckless. Aside this, you equally realize that the weather will change in the night. We have sometimes misty weather, foggy weather, hasty weather, and all this will affect your driving ability. And most of the time too, you cannot even see potholes, slippery surfaces, or dangerous bends, or let's say even black spots. So, and you continue to drive. And when there is a crash, help does not come readily available, because it is either the passers-by are already looking at you as marauders, pretending to want to attack them, or they are equally afraid that if they assist you, then they could be attacked. And also, aside from rescue operations, FRSC does not operate in the night. We only station our men on standby except when there are crashes. That is to say that we will not be, that cautionary aspect of it. Some people, when they see FRSC on the road, they are cautious. They behave well. But with nobody there, then it's free for all. So these are one I mean, most of the factors that we say night journey is not good.
All right, Mr. VC, I mean, you made a very valid point there, and I would like to drag you back a little bit on some of the issues why FRSC does not operate at night, but that will be after Mr. Dominion gives me, an answer to this next question. I don't know when it becomes really avoidable or unavoidable, I mean to say, to travel at night. What are some of the basic safety tips drivers should adhere to? I mean, you are a traffic consultant.
Yeah, thank you very much. In as much as I am equally not in support of night travels, nevertheless, if it becomes inevitable that one must travel at night, I will advise that first and foremost, the person that is going to drive at night must use the daytime to rest. You reverse it, must use the daytime to rest. And besides that, he should ensure that his lights are in good condition, because most often you see our vehicles, the road safety operatives are always on the road, like my officer here did mention, at night to check for those things. But at night, they hide under the cover of night. So if their lights are not in good condition, it will be very difficult. And besides that, he should ensure that when the safety operatives are there, it's for their safety. So when they are not there, they should equally allow common sense to direct them. They should adhere to those instructions, whether the operatives are there or not, to be able to take their passengers to safety. That's it.
All right, BC, I don't know. Can you give us a little bit of an understanding of what the statistics of road accidents at night, could possibly look like?
Well, it's quite overwhelming. If you are conversant with the last press release issued on behalf of the Corps Marshal, he specifically mentioned some statistics. We observed what happened at Sariaji on Okene, is it now Lokoja Okena route, where there was an head-on collision and about 8 people died. We mentioned another one where I think it's Nasarawa State now, around Lafia, where about 21 people died. We mentioned another one close to Kebbi. So it's on the increase, and it's worrisome. It's overwhelming. We have observed that most of the accident statistics we are recording this period, especially, in fact, let me go to the ember months and the end of the year patrol. What actually affected our statistics compared to last year? All the crashes happened in the night, so it's quite overwhelming.
Mr. Dominion, is it possible for transport unions, or fleet owners, to prevail on their members and see a way of probably stopping or reducing the number of night journeys that they embark on? Because despite all said and done, you still see most of these fleet owners loading their vehicles for night journeys.
Yes, actually it's possible, and it's they say lack of information could lead to a deformation. These people, once they are properly educated and they know the dangers of night travels, it will be their place to now educate others not to embark on night travels. But more important than that, I want us to understand that the passengers have a role to play. Now, the people, the transporters are there because they have passengers, their customers patronizing them. It's just like we have female prostitutes. If you don't have male patronizing them, they won't be there. So if the passengers are well informed, the general public are well informed on the dangers of night travels, like my officer mentioned, in case of a crash, there's hardly help coming their way. If it comes, it may not come in good time, and those who wouldn't have died ordinarily might end up losing their lives because help didn't come. So if these passengers are well informed and know that it is for their own safety, what you don't achieve today you can achieve tomorrow. They say welcome is better than sorry. It is better you wait to travel the next day than to embark on that trip at night and end up not getting to your destination. So the passengers have a role to play.
Mr. Dominic, you are a transporter yourself.
Yes.
Now, I'm asking this question against the backdrop of the fact that, as a transporter, is there something probably under the umbrella union you are doing, to see that road travels at night is probably reduced to the barest minimum? That's what I'm saying.
Very well. Personally, I make sure my drivers don't embark on night travels. I tell them that if they get to any destination, or if they don't get to their destination and it is nighted, they should discontinue the journey, or they should start it early enough to enjoy. Then in terms of talking to the unions, when we meet, we always advise against that. Right now, AMA gave us a park within APO axis. It's big enough, and some transporters have come to approach us that they want to be using there for night travels, and we said an outright no. So in our own capacity, we are doing as much as we can to inform them, to let them know that night travels are not good. They shouldn't be encouraged. So I mean, it's by constant practice that we'll be able to achieve this.
Yeah, Mr. BC, I mean, you've listened to some of the submissions by Dominion. In form of advocacy, I don't know how much the FRSC has done, and is it possible to probably put a fine or something, in order to dissuade people from engaging in night travels? Like you rightly said, it's a very dangerous affair.
Well, it will be constitutional, and there's no law that says you cannot travel in the night or embark on any journey in the night. But we can only continue to do public education, enlightenment, and advocacy to let the motoring public realize the dangers inherent in night journeys. And what do we do? We have a lot of programs. We do motor park rallies. We print leaflets, posters, handbills, and the rest to let them know that, look, these are inherent dangers. These are very hazardous things to do. But aside these, stakeholders meetings are always equally conveyed. In fact, on Thursday next week, based on this particular discovery, the commercial is convening a stakeholder meeting of NUPEC PTD, that is Petroleum Tanker Drivers Association, National Association of Road Transport Owners, National Union of Road Transport Workers, and PITONA, that's the people driving luxurious buses and co, and fleet operators. Those people, Peace Transit, ABC, and co. It will be an online meeting where, because of COVID-19, where we want to equally dissuade them from embarking on night journeys. But as per law, like I rightly told you, we do not have the powers to fine anyone for traveling in the night.
Well, that's an unfortunate something we have to live with, because when you were speaking earlier, you did mention the fact that there was an increase in the number of accidents during the Yuletide because of night travels. And you see what some of these transporters do is those ones who are going on longer journeys, they get to their destination in the evening, and by night they turn back to where they are going to get passengers to come back the next day. Anyway, let's hold that thought, and we'll now listen to what people on the street have to say about this. We'll be back in just a moment.
The first time I did it, there was no security on the road, so armed robbers can easily attack. And again, like the worst thing was that the bus we entered got flat tires, and the man didn't have spare tire. So all we did was to run inside the bush and hide till the following day.
Security risk is one of the aspects. You understand? Because in a place that is not secure, you can't travel, because traveling is all about safety, and without the security you won't have a safe drive on the road.
It's an optional thing. Yes, there shouldn't be a ban on it, but at least there should be an awareness. for those traveling on the night, what they will have to undergo and the kind of safety they should put in place before traveling in the night. For any health challenge, where to really go as an hospital in case you are traveling and you have an health challenge. So those are also areas to look onto, and also area to really get yourself in case there are any other dangers, where to really run to. So I think those are the other risks I foresee.
I won't say they should ban it because we don't have any reasons to do that. All what we need to do is to just put the roads in order and increase our security outfits. And that will go a long way to take care of that aspect. Outside accidents, kidnappings are also very on the high side. I was a victim recently. 31st to 1st of January, I was kidnapped. It was just by the grace of God that I got my relief out of their hands. And some of us that was taken away, they demanded a sum of money.
Welcome back to Nigeria Today, and we're discussing night travels with Core Education Officer of the FRSC, Bisi Kazim, and Dominion Ajom, the Managing Director, DZ Global Transport Limited, and a road traffic consultant. Before we went on that break, Mr. Bisi, you had started a discussion on the fact that the road safety does not work at night. Now let's look at that issue. Is it apart from having those who are there for emergencies, can't you have a patrol team maybe once in a while go around and see what happens?
Yeah, we're working on that. You see, you can only walk where you are secured, and then you are aware that we do not, as of now, carry arms. And though the law, our law asks us to carry arms, but we're watching on the government. Maybe one day it will be possible. But if government says no, there's nothing we can do. But what we do mostly is to have synergy with other sister agencies, the Army, the Navy, Air Force, the Civil Defense, the police, as the case may be, considering the areas or the environment where we are, consider the command or the location. So we only have backup of security agencies that are carry arms, and with these we do patrols. It's not as if we do not patrol at all. If you realize, during the end of the year patrol, we had to increase our patrol time from 8 to about 12 or thereabout, where we synergized with other sister agencies, and we were able to successfully carry out some patrols. But for now, like I said earlier, we have rescue in our different bases and commands, and where necessary, we have backup of other sister agencies. So it is the case.
All right, so Mr. Dominion, which categories of vehicles, advised to avoid night journeys? This is where the articulated vehicles come in, really.
Well, actually, night journeys are dangerous to all categories of vehicles if we must be sincere with ourselves. And the ones we know are mostly embarking on these night journeys are the articulated vehicles, the luxurious buses and what have you. Meanwhile, the smaller vehicles, the light vehicles, the risk is higher because at night you see these articulated vehicles, very many, and sometimes their headlights are something that I know the Federal Road Safety Corps are fighting so much about, ensuring that they reduce their lights. But sometimes at night we discover that because road safety are not on the road, the lights they carry, one trailer will carry lights that will serve up to 4 trailers, and it will dazzle the smaller vehicles to the point that if he's not careful, that alone could result to a crash. So the smaller vehicles especially should at least stay off as much as possible from the road at night. It's very, very risky for them.
All right, so what are the basic driving techniques drivers should possess before being certified for night journeys? Mr. Bisi?
Well, number one, your vehicle must meet the minimum safety standard. Minimum safety standard in the sense that all the components of the vehicles must be working very well. Talking about the wipers, talking about the lighting system, headlamps, and the rest. In case there's, in fact, it must not be mechanically deficient in any form, because if it stops you on the road, there'll be trouble. And in a situation like this, there are three major factors that you must consider: human factors, mechanical factors, and environmental factors. Human factor, in the first place, you yourself must have enough rest before you start on that journey. You must be emotionally balanced. You must have physical and mental alertness for you to, and you must be somebody that drive defensively. And for mechanical, I've already talked about that. Your vehicle specification and the standard, and vehicle maintenance must be up and doing. And for environmental, the road, you must be familiar with the traffic situation and the road condition of where you're passing. And you must know that you must use common sense speed. Even if you are allowed to spend 100 kilometers per hour on an expressway, you must know that when you are driving on that night situation, it must be a common sense speed. You must reduce it to what you can manipulate if there's a situation. So these are factors, and we have already realized that because of COVID-19 protocols, because some other people want to dodge this situation of physical distancing and the wearing of masks, they hog traveling in the night, or passengers passengers must be active. You must stop that driver before he kills you. And you must, as a driver, realize that it's only when you are alive that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. And you can't only achieve this when everything is in place for you. We must drive in the night.
Are there numbers people could use to reach you, should in case there's a problem at night during their travels?
The most important one is the toll-free number 122. That is 2410. I mean, we just operate that every time, during the day, during the night. As I'm talking to you, they're there. And if you call it for any emergency, they will hit to your call.
All right, Mr. Dominion, which other stakeholders, should be involved in the process of making roads safer? The road safety has set a lot of things that they are doing. Are there some other agencies that should be involved?
Well, I think the road safety are doing so much already, and when we're talking about the roads being safe, it's actually a collective responsibility. So beyond the road safety, other security agencies should equally be involved in ensuring that there's safety on our roads. They should not just be interested in checking other things. When they discover that this vehicle is rickety, it's an accident waiting to happen. So there's nothing wrong if a policeman, in the course of checking vehicle particulars, discovers that it's raining and this vehicle has no wipers. He can use his office at that point and ensure that the vehicle parks until it stops raining. I think it would be a good thing. So they should be involved, and other law enforcement agencies on the road, they should try as much as possible to use their offices to ensure that besides the passengers themselves, it's their lives. Now we're talking about if it's an 18-seater bus, under normal circumstances, we're talking about 18 passengers' lives to one driver's life. Why would they all sit down and keep quiet and allow one driver who may not even be educated to go and risk or kill all of them? It is important for them to call the driver to order. And if they insist that he must do it, he won't have a choice. If everybody in one accord says, driver, you have to discontinue this journey if you're not going to adhere to these rules, the driver will not have a choice. But the situation in the vehicles is normally when Mr. A is saying, driver, please, you are overspeeding, you are driving recklessly, please take it easy. The next person is saying, look, I have a flight to catch. So that's where the problem is.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Dominion John, for that thought. Mr. BC, in just 30 seconds, what are your final thoughts?
Well, we still want to reiterate that night journeys should be discouraged. If you have every reason not to travel at night, please do not travel. And if you have to travel at night, make sure you have you meet the minimum safety standard, that your vehicle meet the minimum safety standards. Be very familiar with where you're going, and take your time. And also, you must be in a good frame of mind. And like I said, as a passenger, be very, very active. Don't be a passive passenger. Every person must do his own. Road safety is a collective responsibility. If you do your own, I do my own. We must make sure that everything is ethical. Night journeys, once again, should be to say that we don't want to continue to carry dead bodies on the road.
All right, be an active passenger. That's coming from the Corps Education Officer, Federal Road Safety Corps. We thank you very much for being with us on the program Nigeria Today.
Thank you so much.
All right, and we also want to thank our guest, Mr. Dominion Ajom. He's the Managing Director, DZ Global Transport Limited, and Route Traffic Consultant. We want to say very much thank you for being with us on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and for our viewers, for always keeping these dates, we'll say thank you. Nigeria Today is live every weekday on NTA News 24 at 7:30 in the evening. You can also watch this and other editions of the program on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Chimobi Walter Naja saying good night.